how many sheds have you found up to this point this year?
I think we're around 42.
42 sheds.
On this property.
On this property in Michigan.
Internal berms. It's going to help with your access. When you open the window, that scent is going to flow down into a wall, essentially, and then be pulled away below us. You need to get us to get out and do the drones of your property. And I'm like, why is that any different than what I can see on the satellite photos on my phone? Then I saw it. I was like, oh, wow.
All right, welcome back to the Everland podcast. This one's pretty exciting. I will say for everybody who is listening, this one's going to be a little more interactive than normal as far as visually being able to watch what we're talking about as well. So we have a guest on today, Mike Fettig. This is actually Jay's brother. He's joining us in-house, and we are talking about his property from the beginning to the end of it, everything that he's done to it. And we'll actually have the property pulled up on screen as well. So again, if you're listening to Apple Podcast, bump over to Spotify, watch it. If you're driving, I think Spotify ended. You can't watch podcasts and drive anymore.
Yeah, so go to YouTube.
Yes,
and then
or pull over.
YouTube and don't pull over. Just keep going, but watch it. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I think this one will be really exciting. I want to start this off, and we'll get into this later. But Mike, first question is, how many sheds have you found up to this point this year?
I think we're around 42.
42 sheds
on this property.
On this property in Michigan. I think it's safe to say I don't know if I've found 42 sheds in my life, like legitimately.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never counted the pile, but I can't say it's that high.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's really cool, and I think that speaks volumes to your property as a whole. So we'll get into more on that of why you're finding this many sheds. But I want to start with is this your first piece of property that you owned?
It is, yeah.
It is. So how many acres total?
That property is 150 acres.
Did it start out as 150?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So 150 acre, your first property. I guess let's dive into what made you choose, like, this is the property, your first property, big investment, exciting investment. What about this drew you to it?
Yeah, I had hunted an area near this property at a buddy's farm, and hunting near big ag fields in this area of Michigan was just a ton of fun. I had only hunted leases in hardwoods and hadn't had a lot of like big ag experience. And so once I decided we were looking, we just honed in on properties that we thought we could work with, improve, and grow the herd and grow the quality of the deer on. And in this area just kind of drew us in, and I wanted neighbors to have big ag fields to be able to feed the deer, things like that, and to have I was hoping to find a property that had a large deer population.
Yeah. Is this property kind of secluded in a essence? Like you said, the neighbors have big ag. So like, is there large tracts of timber that butt up to this, or is it completely surrounded by fields?
I would say it's more surrounded by fields, but there is a neighboring swamp. But we have the set aside, so the stuff that the farmers didn't want to have. So the things that a lot of guys would look at and say, oh, that's great bedding. That's a lot of our land. We have ag land on it too, but it's a mixture,
Jay, when he was like, hey, I'm looking at this obviously you were involved in this of like, whether you want to admit it or not, a little counseling, a little guidance.
Yeah, 100%. Yes. Yeah.
So like, when you looked at it, were you like, yeah, this is like the property?
I mean, when he first popped it up, and this is one of the biggest mistakes that I've made time and time again when looking at land, is sometimes when you first look at them, you go, ooh, man, I don't know, because it's like, it looks like it's all just kind of fields and grasslands, and it's like, and then there's just big ag around it, and it's the only timber in the area. And so it's like, are you going to be able to hold the deer, or is it going to be one of those areas where there just actually isn't that very many deer because the farmers shoot them all, whatever the case might be. And so looking at it at first glance, I was like, man, I don't know, is there even a tree that you can get in it? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that was kind of that first reaction to it. And then, when you look at the sheer deer sign volume, it's out of control. Yeah. Like it was like that right away. I mean, he has done an absolute ton to it and then managed the herd extremely well, very meticulous. Mike is very detail oriented and like does not like when he does something, he's not going to do it part way. Like most hunters like me, like
It's
I'm
like a
like,
buy
"Oh,
once,
yeah."
cry once type of thing. Like do it, you're going to do it now in the right way.
And like continually maintain it and not like just kind of half do it. So like his success that he's seen to see 42 sheds is because of the amount of time and energy and effort that he's poured into his son and his family and all of them coming out there and managing it and doing the work that it takes to get it to that level. That's why it's seen it. And it is in a really good neighborhood too.
It's a very like, to me, it sounds like a very like Don Higgins approach where he preaches a lot about it, finding secluded pieces. I mean, you look at his piece and it's very secluded, but I think what he's been able to achieve kind of goes with finding a secluded piece of like, you can hold deer and, you know, if it's the only place that they're going to bed, they're going to live there.
Yeah.
So, first off, when you got the property, you said it was a lot of ag. Do you know what the ag to timber ratio kind of was?
So I would say, I think there was only 40 acres that we were leasing out to a farmer of actual true ag field, but there would be an additional about 20 or so acres that were formerly ag, or maybe more, maybe. So of the 150, it might have been half. And then the other halves are swamp, a little bit of flooded timber, things like that. So it's not, so it was, 40% active ag fields that we did lease to a farmer for a little bit, but then we took that back and turned it into grasslands and food plots and planted trees and trying to bring it back to make it more natural for the deer.
So year one, let's say you close on the property and you're looking at 150 acres, and when you said like 40 to or almost half tillable, it's kind of like, whoa, where do I start? Where do I begin? So
we did leave the lease in place with that farmer for at least a couple years, maybe 2-3 years.
Crop.
He was,
corn,
so
soybeans.
corn, and so what we would do is we would have him leave some chunks of food for the deer to feed them in wintertime. I mean, they ate it during hunting season a little bit too, but is
that so again, if you're listening to this, you can pull us up on YouTube and we're looking at,
so that'd be at the
actual
right
map.
If we're looking at the map, that'd be the right side where you see kind of like the cursor's moving around. There's the those are some bigger destination food plots, and then they have a system of plots moving up to it. I did not have that when we started first couple of years. What it was
where
that
was
was
the
all,
ag at?
that would have been all up in that area. That was all ag. So that's now native grasses, some different legumes and different things, and then it's a bunch of food plots and destination food.
So this whole, we'll call it the southeast section, was just straight row crop.
Correct. Yeah. It was getting rotated with corn.
It did have those
Fence rows.
Fence rows that broke those in there. So those
okay.
were kind of nice. They naturally divided those things up and had some to work with.
They were really small.
Yeah.
Autumn olive, fence rows, and I've just let them get a lot bigger and grow out a little bit.
So when year one again, going back, okay, you got a big ag field. You kept it in the farmer's hands. What was like? Did you hunt it like one year to kind of feel the deer out and see how they're using the property, or did you guys sit down and say, like, this is the starting point, we'll leave this ag? Like, what was your approach like year one with the property?
I'm pretty sure we hunted over food year one.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's really important to understand is like, this has been a morphing project. It's not been like the plan has changed not every year, but it's changed dramatically. And like, for year one, when he was like, I want to leave the corn, I was like, it was perfect. I remember having conversations about it multiple times where it's like, we're trying to draw them to there. We want to keep them on that property until like, the entire hunting season. And so if we can put food associated with the big ag food close to it and then leave it, and then they can just move. And then over time it was like, well, he wanted to get into tighter hunting scenarios. And so it was like, how do we make it so we can get into tighter hunting scenarios and stuff like that and opportunities to get and kind of stretch that movement out longer. And so it's like, it's morphed and changed. And so.
So year one, what'd you do? Like, what was the.
I think I started with, if I'm remembering correctly, probably about 3 actual 1 acre food plots, a little bit bigger than a half acre, things like that. So I put in a few of those. I mean, year one, I bought a 40 horse tractor, bought implements, and went to town on what I thought was going to be, the future designs. Mm-hmm. Some of that has, like, a couple of those plots are in the same exact space, and their shapes have just changed a little bit, and how I access them is different. But I didn't have any of this on the back going on at the beginning. It was really, so access was really difficult. That looks like kind of like some people say a golf course or something.
It does look like a golf course out here.
So it looks like,
this was like year one. This was
that was
none
not
of this
there.
was
That's
tillable,
2 years old. Yeah.
So mainly your plots
so
were up here.
We had like that plot in the middle there. There's a big tamarack swamp where a lot of bedding naturally just happened. We didn't have to create bedding or do a lot there. They just wanted to bed there.
Yep.
And so we were cutting them on like a pinch. So putting the food plots in places that were on their way to the big destination food. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was kind of a goal of mine, was to have a place where it was their first food station that they were going to feed on for a little while, and you'd have opportunities to kill deer before the rut. And we're mostly bow hunters, and so that's all of our focus with almost everything that we're doing is bow related. I mean, we will gun hunt a little bit, but I don't think that more than 2 of us went out this year for during gun season, so, or if we did, we had a bow in our hands.
Yeah. So what did you plant year one on your food plots?
My guess is they were straight monoculture brassica plots.
Oh.
That'd be my guess.
I'd say that's.
I don't have that documented, but I think that was more what I was doing back then. It is, and I would have like sprinkled some rye in on bare spots or something.
The previous owner had done a little bit with like clover and stuff like that. So there was some like very small, eighth acre clover plots and some clover trail type situations. But
so the previous owner was a hunter.
Yes.
Yeah, he was.
Okay. Yeah, great guy. Yeah,
he had
really
nice.
He
had some cool techniques too that he had. Some unique snow fence usage and stuff like that. He had left out there, and
just to steer the deer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he had done some. The guy he's a nice guy, and he had done a lot of work to it. But he wasn't feeding them to the same level. There was not nearly, when Jay was saying the 8 acres, I think when I added it up, there was probably only 2 acres of food total.
Really? Was there even that much?
Probably not. Yeah.
maybe
an acre and a half when you total it all up, So I've noticed that before. A lot of guys say, well, I have a acre food plots. And it's like, well, when you map it, it's not, you can see it. It's not,
That's what I always tell people. I'm like, you go look at a food plot and it's like, you're like, oh, it's 1 acre. And then you go look at it. I'm like, a 1 acre rectangle is the size of a football field. So like, that's the same size pretty much. It's a little bit smaller. And so it's like, wow, like you got to really, when you stand out in front of a 1 acre food plot, if you don't feel like you're standing in the corner of a 1 acre football field, like that's a big area.
It is a big area.
And so it's like, yeah, but it requires that to feed deer.
To actually draw deer in.
Yeah, and to be appreciable, to make it through a season, especially on a piece where the deer density is as high as it is there, like you really have to have food. And that's where he's gone above and beyond with the amount of food that he has on there for the seasons, not just September 1 to October or September 1 to January 1. It continues to feed the deer. And he's seeing a massive antler growth and change in size and body and all of that stuff because he's feeding them year round and doing a really good job at it.
So year one, you had your couple standard food plots that you kind of, made better than what they were before, not by a lot. How was your success on year one? Like, were you seeing a lot?
We were seeing deer. Yeah, seeing deer. Those guys were killing anywhere from, seemed like 6 to 10 or 12 2.5 3-year-old deer. I didn't kill a deer the first year. I think my son killed one buck, and that's all we did. And we just wanted to let him grow. And
did you have like a healthy amount of 3-year-olds, or not really any 3-year-olds at all?
No,
4-year-olds?
it was mostly 2-year-olds that you were seeing, and so my son killed one 3-year-old, and so that first year we didn't kill. Like, I didn't shoot anything. You know, you did all the work and went out hunted. I still enjoyed it. Saw a lot of deer, but chose not to shoot anything, and we've been pretty minimal through the years on what we're targeting, how many bucks we're trying to shoot. And I think the most we've ever killed from a buck standpoint off that 150 is 4. So
in a season,
which is pretty good still.
Yeah.
So year 1, kind of feel it out. You got your small food plots. Year 2, I feel like this is like when you really start to like, okay, this is what I'm going to do to make a big change. So like, was year 2 like the big jump of like, this is like, I want to do all of this now?
Yeah, I would say, one of the biggest changes was when we took back the ag and then we bermed the roads.
Was that year 2 or
year 3?
Year 3 is
yeah.
So he's kind of sat on it year 2.
Yeah, I mean, there's mistakes that I made where if hunters have a road with car traffic, you have poaching and you have distraction to the deer, and it's hard to get them to just feed out in the field, and you don't even really want them to. And a lot of hunting properties you look at will have the ag fields up near the roads, and so the question is, what are you going to do to keep them to feel safe? And I remember my son, who was probably like, I don't know, 9 or 10, he took off school one day and we planted like 250 white pine trees to all in that road. And then that winter, every single one of them was a stem. I mean, there was nothing left. Those deer ate those to nothing, right? Mm-hmm. And it was like, oh man, you're pretty sad. Like, you do all this work, you plant all those trees, and so I'm like, man, what are we gonna do? And with one of the local QDM groups, these guys were talking about how significant berming the busy roads has been for them and how much better it made their hunting properties. And so that year, I would say the biggest lift was taking back the ag fields and bringing the excavators in.
Okay, so year 3 is, what do you say, like big changes
shifts.
are happening now. Okay,
yeah.
So as I say, did they have to bring all that dirt in for the berm? Because, like, again, if you're looking at the property, it's along this whole eastern road is bermed correctly.
Correct.
And is it on the north side as well?
We did not. No, that's the roads below the hill. So
okay, so you can't see into it. There's no visual. So it's a lot of dirt.
It is.
Bring
Yeah. We didn't bring the dirt in. We just dug a big hole. So the whole one side of it is like a moat. Basically, there's some places that we put in where deer can cross, where there is, where they come across the road and things. But mostly on the other side of that hill is a big hole. There's a big ditch there. So I didn't want to pay for dirt, and
that would be really expensive to bring in that much dirt.
Exactly.
It's like how
that's
long
a few hundred yards, probably 500 yard wall of dirt, and then we just planted switch on top of it. Probably averages 6 foot, maybe higher. In some places it needed to be about 10-12 feet because the way that it was below the road. So it got it's a pretty big hole on the other side.
I'm curious, like when you do that sort of drastic change to a property, like the deer respond to it like pretty good, like nothing really changed. They just instantly felt more secure in that area.
Yeah. I mean, right now you can see that bright green strip going north-south on the far right side. That's a little over an acre of clover come towards me.
Right here.
Going north. So that's all clover. And I was looking at cameras last night, and there's deer bedding in it right now. And in the clover, and they're just nighttime bedding, still just hanging out in it. I mean, it's way eaten down, but they're right off the road, very comfortable because they're secure.
I personally remember when he did the berm. He was taking back the ag fields that year and doing the berm. But like he was like, dude, you're not gonna believe how they've just they're just like out by the road now. Like it went from like they would barely get past. I mean, because it's kind of cool because he's got like the 3 different lines.
Yep.
And like I remember him being like that right where your cursor is. That's where they would kind of hang up at dark, and right in that area, but put the berm in, and they're all the way to the berm by dark.
Oh yeah.
And
They're feeding
or
in it
bedding.
in daylight.
And then hanging out in it.
Yeah.
And they're bedding in there. And so like the berm is made like it's so like I was never really like prescribing berms, thinking berms are like the way. And then it was just like, oh, I'm all like sold on berms. Like, I mean,
And the fact that you can just do it, like you didn't have to bring in dirt for it. Like you just moved your own dirt to create that.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, any guy can go to their local store that does rentals and have a excavator delivered and go to work. That's a simple machine to drive. And I would make sure they check that they're not running lines, and stay away from
maybe call Miss Dig.
Call Miss Dig, like, along the road. Don't be too close. I have a neighbor that got a little too close to the road on one of his, but to me it changed that thing.
Did it create any access issues as far as, because you said now the deer like literally like bedding up against it? Was it harder for access, or did you just plan for that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to hunt what I call like nighttime feeding, like destination feeding. So some guys would be like, "Wow, you're not sitting over top of a 4-acre field of standing beans." Not really. I'm just trying to feed the deer, and I'm gonna hunt them on the way back and on the way to those spots. And so, no, that didn't really create a challenge for this property for me.
Okay, so I mean, you can see like right on the map here. You can see it. I'm assuming this is a blind.
That's a blind right there, yeah. And
so they're coming off this egg into these before they get into bedding. Is that
correct? Yeah, but I would say I'm more comfortable hunting that in the evening than the morning. I mean, you can do it, but it is, maybe access in the morning is a little tough because you're so close to that big destination plot that evening, you sneak in the evening. Yeah, we're talking internal berms right now. So
talking internal berms.
So that's happening this year, but those food plots, so that's less than a third of an acre little food plot that you were just on there, or about that, a third of an acre. So they'll hit that, they'll feed on it, they won't stay on it forever, and then they move on. And so you can kill them and get out.
Yeah, I see. This map was created like last fall. So
That's correct.
It looks like you planted 2 different things in the food plot.
Yeah,
here.
there's probably 3 or 4 in there right now, but that's a so that was on what we were doing with those, what we called those our green plots. That was half brassica, half buck forage oats with peas. So the buck forage oats and the peas on the one side, that's the dark side, I think.
Did you get the peas to actually grow and establish? Like they laid off them enough?
Yeah, because they're in that buck forage oats. So I think it kind of keeps. So you'll see them climb the oats and stuff, and I think they're hammering the oats right away. I plant those
like really bad. I could not get peas to grow. Like they just nip them as soon as they get, like they mow them down to this the entire time, even mixed in with stuff. Where I planted
That's
it.
for sure.
Yes, they do.
I would say those were, so you would watch them flow from one side of that plot to the other, that sort of thing.
All right, so year 3, berms went up, a lot of screening. You took back this farm field. What did you do these first years in this, now that you have the tillable back?
So we planted some of those, like I call them Sendero plots. Like these are all clover walking up to, I wanted to do as much as I could that I didn't always have to plant, but I wanted to feed the deer a bit more year round and make sure they had some good sources of food and nutrition. And so we put in those clover fields, and then what we're doing is we just have a kind of like you can see them. We're trying to keep the flow on our farm is basically what's happening. And so we kind of have like 2 flows or 3. We have this flow of deer that goes on the north, east, west, and then on the back, the back almost operates like a separate group of deer. I mean, I will see some of those bucks on the front, but they kind of stay. There's certain ones that they're not everywhere, so I can actually, like, if you want to target one of our bucks, kind of.
He's got his plot.
They usually do, yeah. I mean, before the rut hits.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, my son killed a 150-inch deer basically
He was
right
12
there.
years old. That's his first vertical swim ball.
And he killed that deer
in Michigan.
And he killed that deer where, I mean, we knew that deer's, what he was doing every single day leading up to season. He didn't kill him opening weekend. It was probably like the 15th or something like that.
He had a good
October.
chase with that deer, though. He saw him multiple times.
He did.
Stuff like
Yeah,
that.
man.
That's crazy.
I mean, that kid went in there to kill that deer specifically, and he passed on a 140-inch 8-point.
Not me.
12.
He's 12 years old. I was in the stand with him that was opening day. I had my bow with me.
And you didn't shoot it?
I was close. But he told me, he's like, well, my deer's bedded right over there, Dad. I don't want to mess it up. And I was like,
you should tell him my bow's really quiet. Well, he's good.
He's really quiet.
He was talking about the recovery.
Yeah. He's smart enough to know the recovery is hard on deer.
Yeah. That's impressive.
It's pretty. As a 12-year-old, yeah, that's pretty cool. So,
his self-filmed hunt this year in one of those blinds up front is ridiculous. Like the fact that we should probably we need a clip of that to put in there right now, because it's like ridiculous. Like, is he stuck a really I don't know how old that buck was, like 7? 6?
I don't know if he's that old. He just wasn't growing a lot of tines. Like he's 21 and a half inches wide and
6 point. The thing was
7 point when he killed it. Yeah, but he was 6 last year, and he's a big old deer.
That was a massive deer.
And he shot him by himself, self-filmed it and everything, and with bow, So he's a little different, from he's all in on this stuff. The cool thing for him, when you talk about like a family, like it's a family operation working on the hunting property, where that kid spread the seeds on that food plot. He finished with a headlamp at 10 p.m. and killed that buck off of it. So when we seeded that plot, he was back there by himself.
See, I love that.
And did that.
You see more so in other states, but like dads just hand over like the biggest deer to the farm to somebody, and it's like that just doesn't sit quite all the way with me. It's like, but I love that he's into it. He's doing, like you said, 10 o'clock at night, finishing spreading seed. Right. Like, he's into it, and he deserves. He gets that reward.
That kid, because it was funny. He came out to the front of the farm when he got done seeding that plot, and I was running like a big cone fertilizer spreader, and I wanted to get to something else, and I wanted to get everything fertilized, and I said. And I'm running the fertilizer with lights on, all the thing. And I said, D, have you run that cone fertilizer yet on this tractor? And he's like, no, Dad. And he goes, do you think it's good for me to learn how to do it in the dark at 10:30 at night? And I was like, probably not. Thank you for being reasonable. Yeah, we should probably just do that.
You're
in the morning.
thinking I'm gonna go in and have sit down on the couch for a little bit.
No, I was gonna move to something else. Like I just wanted to, when we were seeding, it's like it's go time, and that was, that's all been. We hadn't had a no-till planter or anyway, so you're seeding with rain. You have to have rain for what we had been doing before, and rain was coming, and I wanted to get that in the ground. So, but he said, Dad, you're kind of insane. So, no, I think we'll do it tomorrow. I was like, thank you, son. So,
but just let you know, son, you're going to be just like me when you're older.
Yeah.
You'll be doing this to your kids.
100%, cool. Yeah.
So you got this back again. You established these small plots.
Correct.
And then,
that's like a little over half acre. So I do, if guys are thinking about stuff, in higher density areas, I feel like over half acre is kind of my minimum if I'm putting anything in that's going to actually last. So
what did you do the rest of the tillable? Is that the year that you
all
started grasses?
Native grasses.
That year you established it?
Yep.
How was the establishing native grasses in what used to be a farm? Ag.
So it's spotty. There's stuff that's good and there's areas that's really nice, and there's other areas where, it's weedy and whatever.
Year one, was it like growing much?
Yeah. I mean, the weeds are, if you leave it, stuff grew. So I was just out there, and after snow and everything like that, some of that grass is still standing really. You can't I haven't shed hunted that stuff yet. I like to do that on the quad.
Oh, you just
stand up.
casual.
Hasn't.
Yeah.
He likes to do it on the quads. He just picks up sheds. He doesn't hunt for them. He just gathers. He's a gatherer, not a hunter.
yes.
He's a gatherer.
The sugar beets. The sugar beet plot this year was. I think I said that I was there for an hour and a half, and I found like 20 by myself.
How big is that sugar beet plot?
That's 3.5 acres.
Straight sugar beets.
Correct. Yeah. And it looks like deer. It looked like a pig pen from after winter because they just. I mean, I was walking in mud. You know, it was one of those warm days that we had a couple weeks ago, and yeah, it was just incredible to see. They definitely were into those. Those were those glyphs.
They had a thing for those sugar beets.
They were in there heavy. I like having lots of different crops.
Which field?
That was up in the big destination
right
stuff.
This is all sugar beets here.
No, that was corn. It had half. So I had like half of that, or no, less than half of it, like an eighth of that big long strip in sugar beets, and then a big strip of the other ones. I try to like separate stuff out so it's just in different areas, like not all right next to each other, but in different areas so they move through things and don't just mow stuff down. So
that's interesting because a lot of people say now they talk about not having diversity on the property as far as food sources go, but it sounds like you have a plethora
of diversity.
You have diversity.
Yeah,
when it comes
I think it makes a huge difference. The deer, when I see what's going on with the 2-year-old racks to a 3-year-old rack, I mean, it's night and day, or 4-year-old. I mean, you're talking massive antler growth when they have the right food. And I don't think the food just needs to be there for them in the fall when we're hunting. I think we need to be feeding them all year round, and, it makes a big difference. I mean, I'm always calling Jay saying, what do you think about this new way to grow more food, for the deer and to keep them healthy? Because, I mean, we're paying attention to even like the woody browse and how much is available, because I'll winter a lot more people's deer. That's why I have all those sheds, because everybody else's food is down and it's gone. So these deer come in. One nice thing about that, though, is wintering deer. One of my neighbors a mile and a half away, his deer came in and he didn't leave, and I killed him, the next year. So that deer came in as a 3.5-year-old.
How far away?
A mile and a half, and he, I got his sheds from the year before from the neighbor, and then that deer didn't leave. And they'll do that, when you have the right food and things. So, we're growing our replacement deer, the 2s and 3-year-olds and things, but we'll also have some that'll move in.
I want you to touch on the diversity of food plots, because again, a lot of people say,
and I would say that I do believe in diversity of food plots, but then also having the appreciable amount of food on the property at the same time. So if you look at his setup, where his destination is, where the sugar beets are, the corn is, he has the availability in the real estate for that to be in one area. The difference is what he's got going too, though, is all of his green plots are somewhat consistent. They're somewhat the same thing. So they don't have the doe bedding. What doesn't happen on his farm is all the does and the deer that associate with those green plots, they don't run out of food throughout the course of the year. So the danger of having like a brassica plot, a clover plot, and a different, like all throughout the different areas of the farm, if you notice where the diversity is for the evening late feeding is all over to the west edge, or the east edge of this thing. Everything else are those green plots and the clover plots that are just trails that are moving deer through. They're bedding with those and all that kind of stuff. And so then they're hitting that diversity for those evening feed hours and all that late pattern stuff. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. So like you get you're basically, the way I'm understanding what you said is, it's these food sources here are kind of common.
Yep.
They're and then as you get this way, it heads to more of a, I would say what word am I looking for?
Food that lengthens from outside of season. So that food is available for the deer outside of just the hunting season, and it continues to feed deer in different ways. If he flipped this thing, and this would be my opinion on this, if you flip this thing and like the food plot all the way back here to the west over here was just corn, this property would set up completely different, and the deer would associate with the corn for middle of October and stuff like that, and then they would move off of it, and then they would come back to it. But because he's got it with his peas and his bean, or his what'd you say, your buckforage oats and your peas and your brassicas on those plots, that's food that will hold the deer during hunting season, and so they can bed close to it. They don't have to find new bedrooms. If that was just a big clover plot and it frosted out, those deer would have to then reassociate and all that kind of stuff. But because there's enough diversity in those plots through the hunting season, they don't have to reassociate. Then after the season, now all this destination of corn and sugar beets and clover and all that stuff and alfalfa that is out there, they can move and associate with that in the winter months, and then he's gathering deer that he can then hunt, after the next season because they stay on the property.
Got you. So like when you look at this, like we'll call this your destination plot
Area.
Yeah.
I would call it a destination area.
Yeah. So you don't hunt it over here during season hardly at all.
Right.
Okay. So that totally makes sense now.
Yeah. Does that?
So we created flow patterns to get to that.
Yeah.
And
consistent deer movement from bed to food.
Were the deer coming? Were they coming over here for the corn during season? Like, would they end up there at night? And
they'd make it there
sugar
during the
beets
day
during season.
So they're not. I mean, a little bit. They'll nip on the tops and stuff. They're not digging them up like they were. But out there was corn, beans, and sugar beats.
Oh, did you put the beans inside of the corn rows?
They were two separate. We're considering that in our for next year. We'll see if we do. But
just
those
wider corn rows.
Yeah. So there was corn on the far right, beans on the left. We've just been rotating it since we've had the berm in.
Gotcha.
And then we just took a part of that and added in the sugar beets. And yeah, they seem to, want to work that way and just kind of nighttime feed out there. I think they're more comfortable in larger herd groups at night. Like, it just seems like they don't care that they're out there with a bunch of groups. On these smaller plots, though, when you see a group of like 5 or 6 does come in, the next group doe family is moving them off, and then they move on to the next, and they don't seem to like want to be on that small of a plot hanging out with a big herd. But they seem fine with it out there on the bigger field.
So do you let's look at these plots right here that are, I would say, the closest to your house. Is there a blind on any of these right here?
Yeah, there's a blind on the
right here.
Correct.
Right there.
I think it would be down. Yes.
Okay. Let's zoom in here a little bit.
Oh yeah,
okay.
you're maybe
right there.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, and I see your access to
Yeah,
it right there.
Yep, that's access up the middle of that. And then you have deer coming down the sendero, but you'll also have deer coming just straight across that field. They'll feed in that, and then
they call it sendero.
Yeah, to bring the Texas in.
Yeah, it's a little different style of sendero because those are green and lush. So
not
the same thing.
Sprinkled with corn.
But when you're up there, man, like if you sit in the tree stand that's in here, it's like the most beautiful panoramic view with those senderos, looking over those food plots. I mean, it's just incredible. Last year, sitting turkey hunting, we were sitting here. I had a buddy out there who never turkey hunted before and just had 2 monsters coming down the sendero. And it was just so fun to see. The sun was at their back, and this dude's never even felt a turkey gobble.
Oh, so that's
they're
perfect.
Just thundering right in his face. I mean, it's just.
Do you get a lot of bedding in the grasses here? Like, we get some small family groups of does.
Yeah, they will. It's not a ton. I wouldn't say, like, what I've experienced is I rented a tree spader. If you zoom in here, you might be able to see
These
it.
trees right here.
Those trees are all being planted. I did the same thing up there. What I was doing is I'm taking some of the trees that I have in my rows and moving them. So just grab a tree spader on a bobcat and move them about this time of year. And the second the frost is off and you can get through, and I transport in the small ones, and it just adds more cover for them. I don't think in Michigan I notice a ton of native grassland bedding. I really don't. I think there's some guys that say that they see it and things. I would say that the deer seem to want a little bit more cover over their heads here. But that's just been my experience.
Just kind of engraved into them over the years of like that. Because, I mean, you look at probably the complete opposite if you go to Kansas.
Right. And in other areas, people feel differently about it. So I don't know. So I've been adding in trees, just rent one of those things for a day or two a year. I can't remember what I said I could move, but I mean, it's like
a lot,
100 and some in a day or less.
Oh, wow.
So I mean,
you can make a big change in a day.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. You were talking about some like the internal berming or whatever they talked about up at the top or whatever. He moved and put a wall of trees in there in one day. And I was like, well, okay. Like in the cool thing with that spade, dude, is you can't even tell. Like, because you can't even tell that the ground was, because it just goes shink into the ground and he makes a hole and then you stick.
How big of a tree can you lift up with a?
I wouldn't want to move something with a bigger than a 2-inch trunk on it. Mostly what I was doing is moving autumn olives. Mm-hmm. That's and so to make a wall.
Right just
you.
Some people are cringing.
Yeah, of the autumn. Well, I cut them back.
Yeah.
So we maintain them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
well, let's get into that a little bit. So you said these hedgerows or fence rows are mostly autumn olive.
That's correct.
And you haven't had any creeping out into.
So we've had some areas where what we've done is we bring in a forestry mulcher at least once a year, and we mow them down. Like if you have a big pocket of them, I would get rid of that. Deer don't bed in those things. So autumn olive groves, like some guys look at it and think it's like a big bedding area. I don't believe that they're bedding in those things, but they will if you take out like 2/3 of the trees. And that's what we've been doing in those areas that we have.
You've just been maintaining it.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Just cut
There's
them
not
out.
been an aggressive approach to remove like the invasive species on this property, because it's one of those ones where it's like you're working with it versus trying to full on eradicate it and then just having the nightmare of trying to bring something else back in it. Mm-hmm. And it's an ongoing process. Instead, just work with it. And there are different opinions on that where guys will like, oh, you have to get it completely off your property. Well, that's, if you feel convicted to do that, then you should do that. I wouldn't say that that's necessarily an approach that I've taken over the years. It's like, I'm going to work with it and make it as best as maintain it, and then get wooded browse in it, and then continue to maintain it so it doesn't go out of control.
Do you see the deer eating the autumn olive a lot?
Yeah. The berry crop was pretty strong this last year, so they're standing up on their legs eating them. Yeah.
They don't browse it, but they'll eat them berries.
Yeah. I don't. Surprisingly enough, as prevalent as it is across Michigan now, I don't think I've hunted a property that really has autumn olive on it.
So if you go up to that north, further. Okay, so this area here, that's all autumn olive, kind of along and it's got a hillside, and then there's a tamarack swamp. I didn't like how the deer, what they were doing was they would just go right through it. And so they weren't bedding in it. And so what we did was we forestry mulched and just tamed it and took it back. And we took out about 2/3 of those trees. And I mean, when I went
some pretty decent sized trees in there too.
Oh yeah, some of those autumn olive trunks were probably 6 inches in diameter. I mean, these are big, and so you definitely needed it. Yeah, you definitely needed the forestry mulcher on this. So, but taking that back really made a difference, because those deer use that whole area for bedding, and you got like a nice little south facing slope.
I think it's because now that they have like open up pockets in there to see and feel more comfortable taking it back that much, or.
Yeah, and they can move through it. I don't think that they want to armory crawl. I think they're like, I mean, I always tell Jay, I like smiling deer, happy smiling deer. Like that's my thing. Like, I mean, give me
a deer walking around your farm just smiling.
I said we have to make a T-shirt. The other day. I was like,
that's my goal.
That's
always
his goal.
Happy
deer,
smaling, lazy deer that don't have to work hard.
That's what it was. The T-shirt is like, I want lazy, happy deer.
Yeah, lazy, happy deer. And so, and I think that they don't want to even have to bend down to armory crawl through it. I really do. Like, because they're going to go through the spaces where they didn't have to do that. Mm-hmm. And you can see it. And so to make more spaces for them that didn't have to do that, and to create bedding in throughout it, we planted clover when we ripped that stuff up, and we sprinkled some other seeds in there to see if we could bring back something else to replace it. But the amount of bedding that I went through there and saw winter bedding in there was incredible.
How fast will that autumn olive come? Like when you say you ran a forestry mulcher through here, like how many, like, is it next year you had to do it again?
So we've been trying to get him there every year. I haven't had to hit the same spots every year.
Okay.
So my guess is I'd probably run through there, but I can use that. I can tame that with my flail mower now, I think. So I don't think I need the forestry mulcher once it's been completely ripped out. Yeah. So a brush hog or something like
brush
that.
Hog
Rotary
on the skid steer makes a big difference. And,
Yeah.
you know, I tamed I had about an 8 acre on an old farm, an 8 acre autumn olive farm. Like the whole 8 acre field that once was an ag field just was completely overrun with autumn olive. And we took sections of that back over time and then just maintained it. But you will see, like, I mean, 1 year just left alone in the bacon sun, it just comes back with fury. So you really have to, if you're going to take it out and turn it into a plot and all that kind of stuff, really getting those stumps out and all that is really important. And using the right herbicides to tame them back. So
Very nice. Okay, so berms are in. You established more food in the front. How did the hunting, the biggest differences in hunting on year 3 go? I'm assuming you're starting to see bigger age structure of deer on your property.
Yeah, we're starting to grow older bucks and maintain them. I would say we could tell that our deer were not leaving also. So
your neighbors weren't getting pictures of. Are you good like with the neighbors around?
Yeah, we have some nice neighbors. So, and I would say, I mean, not everybody in that same area is trying to age up the class, but there are some, but we could tell that they weren't leaving just because you'd see them on cameras on all over, everywhere. So we run a lot of cameras.
I was saying, how many cameras do you have on 150?
I have no idea.
A lot.
I don't know.
A lot.
It's more
Basically
than a few.
every gap and every.
Yeah. I mean, I was the crazy guy that is still running cameras for surveillance, neighbor stuff as well as deer, things. But I would say cameras are interesting because, I mean, the deer he killed that we were talking about a while ago, that deer, the year before, he lived on the property. I saw him every time I hunted, and I had 3 pictures of that deer the year before. That deer was very camera shy, and he was disinterested in getting his picture taken. We moved every camera up, and it's a little grainier, even with like the HDs and things, but we moved every camera to above 8 foot. So I stand on the front of the Can-Am or the tractor or whatever, and I probably had 150 pictures of that deer.
I'm getting him for Christmas.
I was just saying, the thing at the show.
Oh yeah, dude. So it's
like on a pole or something.
Yeah, it's a pole.
It's a pole that you put your camera up in the tree with.
Okay.
And it has
What's
it
it
literally.
called?
I don't know. We got to find out. I bet you it'll be at Deer Classic this weekend.
I just started following him on social media because I'm like,
dude,
someday.
It literally has, you can run an impact in the bottom of it. So you can screw, it comes with a mount, like a whole bunch of mounts for the camera. And so you run the impact down the bottom of the pole and it just drills the little thing into the tree way up high. And then it has a laser on the pole so you can see where it's
exactly
aiming.
where it's pointing.
Where it's aiming. And you can then you can come back to your camera if like the batteries are dead. You just bring your pole and it collapses and you can pull the camera down and put a new battery in and then just click it back up. You don't have to like unscrew it and all this stuff. Like it actually has.
It sounds complicated, but it was so nice.
Well, last year was the first year I took every camera to solar, and that was a game changer. I mean, I
actually, this is the first year that I went solar on a couple cameras too, and I don't know if it's because I had them too low, but the cameras that I had solar hooked up to them, I got the least amount of pictures. I don't know if it's throwing like a bigger frequency or whatever deters deer from trail cameras. I got less pictures. Yeah.
On the solar cameras than the other cameras.
Yep, 100%. Because I went in, it was like as close as I felt comfortable into adding a camera into a like primary bedding area. It was probably off 50 yards, and I thought I made like the perfect sneak trail for a deer. Had a tree stand set there. I'm like, I want to put a camera here one time, never have to come in here again until it's the time to kill. The deer that I hunted this year was in that bedding area probably 50% of the season and never got him once on camera. I actually don't think I hardly got any pictures of deer on that. And I know I hunted around that area, and I know the deer were like frequently using like that area.
Yeah, that's the hard thing with cameras. Like, how often do you see I see it all the time.
Yeah, they
they'll walk right by and I
right
don't get
by.
a picture.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting in the blinds. I mean, I like I started installing with the solars. So the solar panel and the camera is on a lot of my elevated box blinds because, I mean, one thing like a bow hunter would find if they buy an ag field is where you're going to hunt. You gotta become comfortable hunting out of a box blind, and so it's nice because then you have a camera seeing what you would be seeing in there. But I've definitely had it happening where deer are walking by and you're not getting all those photos. Yeah. So
I can't find the name of that invention. I was hoping to give them a little plug. Yeah,
if we find it afterwards, we'll throw it in the description or whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember what were we talking about before we got on the trail.
He was talking about hanging solar or trail cameras high.
The quantity. I don't know. What were we talking about?
Oh yeah, how many?
Yeah,
like rough estimate, like
it's
20,
definitely
30,
high 20s, probably.
High 20s. That's not too out of the ballpark. I run probably 20.
We have other
grams on 200-ish acres.
We have other property near there too, so I'm trying to do the math on where everything's at, but yeah. Seems like enough, I guess.
It seems like enough.
Yeah. So what do you think when you look back on your property, and we're only into like year 3 of it right now for what we talked about, how long have you owned the property?
I think it's about 5 or 6
Okay, so we're getting close.
Years, yeah.
Okay, we're caught up. Do you think the age structure of deer that you were seeing on the property was getting better because you were passing the deer, or was your property now just drawing that age structure in? You said you were on a lot of trail cameras.
passing the deer.
Okay, so it was your we'll call it your local deer herd just making it through this season.
I've been really surprised that there hasn't been that many absolute studs that show up during season that are random deer. I just really haven't had a lot of that experience. I know guys have that in other places. I don't seem to have that. So it's more of like you kind of know what you have when you start the season. And because I'll summer the deer and winter the hunting season is what it seems like. There's a couple times where I've had good bucks disappear and be gone for a little bit, and then I'll show back up. But it's not as it'd be more common, I would say, that we see that that he's still there, and unless we killed him, you know. So,
that's been my experience with every farm that I've managed and done what I've done in them. I've not had like, holy cow, there's a 160-inch deer that showed up out of nowhere. If I have not seen some photo of him or know him, even on like a smaller 40 and stuff like that, I've not had, like we've talked about it every year. It's like this idea that like all of a sudden just a giant's going to show up. I think that's more common in an area where you don't actually have really good management practices going on. And so deer are looking for that piece of property and they're just searching and trying to find it. And then once they find it and they lock in and they key in on it, they kind of stay. Yeah. And so then they're not going to be one that's going to be as nomadic. They definitely, all the stuff goes out the window, and it's the scariest time for me during that 12 days of rut, which it should only be 12 days.
Gun season.
Really rut, and like
gun season
leading up into the November 15th in Michigan gun season. But like really those days of rut are like the hardest time, obviously, to manage your deer herd because you got deer going all over the place. And that's where I'm such an advocate for managing the deer herd to maturity status, because it will actually bring the natural rut to a shorter window than these long drawn out ruts that are going on where younger deer are breeding. I know everybody thinks that all we want to do is shoot mature deer. Yes, it is our goal to shoot and harvest mature deer. We're not lying to ourselves. That's what we're doing. But in the same time, we're helping manage the deer herd. And so the rut doesn't get this long extension that we're seeing today. And then you actually aren't able to maintain your deer herd as well, because now you have the potential of losing your deer to the neighbors and all that kind of stuff. And again, it just is like a vicious cycle.
I mean, I would say part of me thinks that the reason that somebody in Michigan doesn't have a random 4.5, 5.5, 6-year-old show up on their property is because the deer that are making it to that class have a property that is good that they're living on. and somebody's passing on them and they're letting them grow. And so they're not out wandering. It's other states where people are experiencing that kind of a environment where they have states that's been more used to like growing bigger deer, and they don't have the same hunter volume. We have a ton of hunters, you know, so it's harder to grow the age class. And so I think that's probably why, or a part of why we don't see it. You know, the guys that I know in Ionia neighborhood where I hunt, those guys that grow bigger bucks are they're growing them and keeping them, and they're paying attention. They're passing on deer that a lot of guys would shoot, and it's painful, but you got to do it if you want to if you want to see them next year. You know,
that 150 that your son killed. Like, how big of an area do you think he lived in on that on your farm?
Like a tiny little pocket. I mean, he bedded in the same. He did not move a ton. I mean, he just stayed. He was pretty consistent, but he had food within the start of one of the food plots was probably 80 yards from his bedroom. And, you know, but you couldn't go hunt him without perfect wind. Like it was like, but that deer, his daytime bedroom seemed to be very consistent in, you know, even from the year before, same thing, you know, he was in the same spot, and you just knew what that deer was going to do.
So now looking back to like this past hunting season, like how many, and I'll say 3-year-olds and up, did you have on the property, do you think?
At least like 8.
Wow. I wasn't expecting you to say that many. 8.
At least, yeah.
On 160 acres.
150, yeah.
150 acres.
Yeah.
That's impressive. And that's only in a 5-year time frame.
Correct.
Of passing deer and obviously properly hunting your property.
Yeah.
And giving them food.
Yeah. I mean, we're cautious on what we do, you know, and when we access and when we go into certain stands. And
how hard do you hunt? Like you said, you got family's hunting the farm, you're hunting. Like, how often is your farm being hunted during bow season?
I mean, I say I'm really cautious on weather conditions and things like that. So, I'm not going to hunt if the wind's not right for that deer's pattern or for the stands and things. So,
But are your boys like?
No one will. Yeah, all of us are going to operate the same way. So we're going to be really particular. And if things are iffy, I'm going to hunt the edges and be more observing and things. Like I want to go in and kill when it's time to kill them, and when you really
do.
Feel right.
I mean, you get the privilege of observing and hunting deer quite regularly. It's not like you're not hunting. You have enough. You have enough hunting opportunities and locations where he's out there on a regular basis, but he knows that if it's not a good weather thing, he is not pushing a stand.
So you basically have observatory stands where you can kind of sit back. You're still kind of in it potentially, but like it's more of like I'm just watching.
I don't go with high hopes that you're going to kill a giant. My opinion is like once they get to be 4 years old, they don't move unless it's the right weather for them. They just won't. And so I think a lot of guys overhunt mornings early season. I don't agree with that. I just think that those deer, when you pay attention to the cameras, they're back to bed before it's shooting light. So they're, you know, mornings are awesome late October, but early just a little touchy. You know? It's,
I'd say that's the biggest takeaway
deer.
that I've learned over the last, because I just love hunting, and I love hunting mornings.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, mornings are awesome, but I kind of feel like it needs to have a 20 in front of it, at least in my area. You know, but evenings, I feel like once you get that nice cold front around the 13th, 15th of October, you'll see some really cool stuff start to happen and things. I mean, but yeah, I think we're just cautious about it, you know, and definitely don't overhunt stands. You know, our dad wants to overhunt stands a little bit, you know, like he gets comfy. Every dad does, you know, so he gets comfy in a stand and likes it and things. So you gotta kind of have to help with
he's got
rotation.
His Mountain Dew laid up on the bank's blind, and it's like, I got my stuff there.
All your things. It starts to feel comfy.
No, the funny part is you can follow him through the woods. And we love you, Dad. But you can follow him through his woods, through like his grunt call that fell out of his pocket, and all of his yo-yo and all of his trail of things. like, as he's lost than his 90-pound backpack. I guarantee his backpack is still full right now. Wherever his backpack is, it's full, and you can't lift it off the ground, sir. It's always so absurd. I'm like,
you said a yo-yo.
Yeah.
What? Like, dude, he has like, we love our dad. Don't get us wrong, but like he literally, last time I went elk hunting with him, he reached into his front pocket and pulled out a key to where his stuff was in his backpack. He had a
labeled legend
of where it was.
At least he's organized about it.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, dude, we're elk hunting. This thing weighs 150 pounds. I'm like, you can't bring this stuff. You don't have the physical ability. I can't carry.
You never know when you want to yo-yo.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Like, that's awesome. So I know I'm going to ask this question. I know the answer to it already, but the biggest change that you've done to your property, what would you say?
I would say it's like the combination of creating a nice destination food and the berms were big. We're looking to do some big changes this year.
Yeah, let's get into that. Because we kind of touched on this a little bit before, but we cut you off because I want to hear about it.
Yeah.
What's the plan for this year?
So we got two big things happening. So we're moving to a complete no-till environment. We have a no-till drill coming for the first time. We've never had that. I think that's going to be key.
Are you doing that for soil health, just better plots?
For two things. I mean, for soil health, I also think it's going to help with weed suppression and just growing better plots. And so we're going to be rotating those green plots with a spring and fall mix and a multi-seed mix in the spring, multi-seed in the fall, and rotating those crops and going to a no-till. I mean, I'm spending a ton of money on fertilizer, and I'd like to stop that. That's that would be helpful. And so, but I also see the value in having a mixture that is feeding the deer all year round. And we had been talking in terms of like, what am I going to do with weed suppression in the spring? Because those food plots, they just become a weed source if you only do a brassica and oats and something.
Have you cover cropped your plots in previous years?
Yeah, we did one time with buckwheat and
he didn't love that from going through it and seeding it. And so he started talking about vitalized stuff and trying to see if that's the right decision for him at this point. And as we've learned more from Al. And thinking that might be a direction that he's headed.
Did you soil test your plots each year?
Not each year, no.
Not each year.
I probably haven't in 2 years. Okay. So
I'm just curious, how much you've changed that soil by.
So some of it really wasn't all that bad because some of it was ag. So you're not talking, and even the stuff that I didn't take back, the other areas had been farmed before. It just had been 10 years or 5 years or something. And so you're saying I wasn't dealing with like a hardwood plot that some guys have to step into where they really got to work on it.
Like me this year, as I can hear the beeping and stuff like that, or I'm taking back forest.
Should be
straight
good soil.
It's gonna be
great.
Lovely, lovely leaf litter with tire marks and just run up stand and all that fun stuff. Yeah,
well, I'll give your logger credit. He's doing a really good job.
Dude, he's awesome.
Yes.
He is.
That's
awesome.
the cleanest logging job I have ever seen.
Yeah, and So I'm very thankful.
Your trails that he's like keeping clean is impressive. I should bring you to my dad's house and look at the giant holes that are in the earth.
Earth.
Yeah.
Just huge rods.
Huge.
That's too bad.
Yeah. So the only reason I asked that is because I was curious of, like you said, you do go through and spend the time and money on fertilizing it. I was curious, like how much you've like moved your pH or your phosphorus through the years. Have you like kind of kept track of that?
No, not well. I have not. We've just, I would say I've done more of where I noticed some guys realize they have to move the pH and they get the levels and they kind of do a little bit. I mean, we've had big pallets delivered and moved it a lot, So we've seen. I'm working with pretty good soil. Yeah. I'm really good food plots. Like they grow nicely. To me, the reason to get rid of or to move to the no-till is for soil health, to just make it even better. I mean, you're going to make.
Are you gonna become a crimper?
We're not sure yet. We'll see.
I was surprised that Al kind of was like,
Yeah.
Well, what's the point?
I don't
you're
know.
running that no-till
That
drill
no-till's just gonna
over,
hammer it.
over the vitalized, putting it back through
I think it kills it.
Right, but at it's depending on whether or not you want to burn it off.
Yeah.
After you knock it down, whether you want to run back over with the crimper, it's just it's another tool that you got to add to the thing. And
If it works, Lee, I will do it to get rid of burning the crops.
Yeah.
So it's for
Have you tried it at all?
We tried. I've seen it. We tried it with buckwheat, and I mean that there were some things that we did wrong with that buckwheat planting where I let it seed, and other things that were a challenge with it. So I don't know if that seemed to work fine.
Yeah,
for
and
crimping.
if someone's listening and doesn't know what crimping is what it's doing is it's basically the picture of a lawn roller with edges on it that as you roll that over the existing vegetation, it breaks it into. It does have to do 3 or 4 crimps in the actual
the stem,
mm-hmm. And then what that does is it kills that and then allows your that to break down back into the soil. All the nutrients go back down into it, and again, just replacing actually spraying it with herbicide.
yeah.
That's my
and I would like
only
to
fun fact of the day.
Yeah, I would like to move to it. I think
Yeah.
I have a massive boom sprayer, and to not
like
have
to
to
have
use
it.
that.
The boom sprayer.
buy your crimper.
You should get a crimper.
Yeah. So,
I'll actually need to use that too this year.
yeah. So to get away from that and the chemicals and stuff, yeah, I'd love to. I
Yeah.
just want to make sure that it still works.
Yeah.
And we're gonna try it and see how it goes. So.
So back to the two things. So you're saying this year no-till drill. That's
No-till
huge.
drill's
That's
coming
gonna be
in.
awesome. And
Number 2,
Internal berms.
internal berms.
Internal berms.
I was actually just listening to a podcast not too long ago, and they were like joking about it, and I was like, it hasn't left my mind yet. So let's get into this.
Wait, they were joking about internal berms. They use that phrase. That's our phrase. You can't take.
No, they called it. I don't remember what they called
Like
it. Straight up tunnels to.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's talk
So
about internal berms.
Internal berms. We got an excavator coming, and what the intent is.
Let's point to where
An area.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's zoom in on it a little bit to the right.
One more.
On the right.
My
There we
right,
go.
left.
Okay. So this kind of goofy shaped plot here. You
Is
got.
this a water hole here, by the way, or what is this?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a moonscape of some sort. I don't know what's going on in the middle of that plot. It's where a blind used to be. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's a water, but it's not holding water. So it just
sure.
looks like a moonscape. So
Okay, fair.
it's clay-ish in that area, so it does kind of hold some water. So,
I got you.
I feel like what's the little dude, the Smurf? You gotta call that the Smurf plot because it looks like the little Smurf. hat.
Oh, right. Here's
That's
the
his little hat, and you turn him sideways. That's a
Turn
Smurf.
That or maybe Snoopy, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, okay.
Okay, so
Snoopy.
here, like if he's walking that way, his face. I don't know. So
It's like the poop emoji.
yeah, it's.
All right.
I wasn't thinking about your sweet drones coming out and mapping this when we made the shape.
I wasn't.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking about it.
Now that I know that that's happening in the
You're gonna make
future,
them nice.
I'm definitely gonna make something
I wanna
sweet.
see your
you know?
initials.
I would like
Yeah.
a star. I
Yeah.
would like my name.
Yeah. We're gonna have definitely a different shape now, knowing these things. So
No more poop emoji.
no.
All right. So here's your blind right
yeah,
here.
there's a blind there. So what's happening is, since we're hunting out of some blinds, we notice right at that last light, if you go to open those windows, we hunt blinds all closed up. We got them blacked out. We've got curtains, the whole thing.
the whole time right up until it's
Right
time
up
to
until
shoot.
it's time to shoot. And so when you go to open that window with thermals and being near edge of a food plot, you open that window, boom, that scent is dropping onto that plot and everybody's noticing very quickly. And so we're trying to get rid of that by... we're going to use some berming to have it in front of the blinds and then kind of almost shaping where the deer walk and
So you're
and then
saying,
hoping
right. Are you going to move
well, we're
this
going to move the
blind
blind.
off?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're moving the blind off of it and moving it a little south,
let's-
and we're going to widen that plot or make that plot bigger. But the intent is the berm will do kind of twofold. It's going to help with your access, so it keeps you covered as you're getting to it. But it also, when you open the window, that scent is going to flow down into a wall essentially and then be pulled away below us. So we're using the ground. So that map's flat. You're not seeing contour lines, but we're going to use the valley to then pull the scent down it. So we're not actually like tunneling the scent, but we're just going to use, we just know that the scent's going to drop into there.
So you're using berm for scent control.
Scent control and access, and it's also going to be for routing deer. So some guys, when we bought the place, there was a lot of the snow fence out there. For guys that are hunting hardwoods and need to route deer in certain areas, they definitely will move differently if you put some snow fence.
Like the straight up orange snow fence.
I mean, you can go orange Lee if you want. Like,
I didn't know the snow fence came in other colors.
Yeah, there's green. You
Is
know,
there green?
yeah.
Green.
I got
I've only
some
seen
nice
orange.
old school brown.
I've thought about that.
I think green.
Really?
Yeah, so green plastic looks a little nicer in your woods. I'd go green, but
Okay, 100%. Yeah, I hate orange.
so that, or I have that wood slat out at my farm. So at this property, we have wood slat that like we've moved into different areas and things. So we're going to use the berming kind of like that to create a place where the deer are going to be walking rather than them kind of cutting across.
Here are you gonna,
it's going to come basically across.
Right here.
I can't remember on this one. I have it on the design, but I think it goes this way.
Okay.
The berm.
Okay.
So that way, rather than a deer coming across here and deciding to go to that food that way, they're going to want to naturally go around that.
Okay. So you're angling the berm. People that are not watching, like picture a blind and then into a grass field, angling the berm out and away from you.
Correct.
To funnel the deer. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So because if they want to go, to your point, if they want to go to the destination food source, it's a longer walk for them to go around the berm
it.
And then this way.
And
you want lazy, happy, smiley deer.
Happy, smiley deer. Yeah, they just like and then what we've noticed too is they like the berms. They like break.
They're
they
edge
just,
creatures.
Edge.
Yeah, they are. And so like the more of those berm opportunities that we give them, it blocks the wind. It gives them nice, comfy places. They'll bed near it.
What are you going to do on the top of the berms? Is just grasses or?
That's what we've done on the other ones. I don't know. With these, I'm not sure how tall we're going to go because, I don't know if I want switchgrass in my face, on top of the blind because
you
to
won't
go cut it would be kind of hard.
You don't want to see what's coming.
Yeah. So we're not sure. We'll see. So
I'm curious how much. Like, where did you hear this from? Like, where is this?
We just made this up.
Okay, so
yeah.
this is
new. Yeah,
this is not FDA approved.
This is new.
Okay.
I looked at it and if it wasn't for like upsetting my neighbors, I literally would want to put berms all the way around the thing from an access standpoint because when you walk along a berm, the deer have no idea you're on the other side. But I don't want to like make it feel like there's a wall for other people's deer flow and things like that. I don't, that's not my thing. If you guys want to do that, go ahead. There's guys I know that are putting up fences. No, I'm not fencing. I'm not walling. It is what it is. But I think to do some berming interior, that's one application. We're also just going to do it in some random spots, just out in some of those big grass fields, because we're thinking that possibly they'll use that to just bed wintertime to keep them out of the wind and make them feel more secure and be happy deer, So smiley happy deer,
Lazy happy deer.
That's what we're looking for. So
I'm very curious. Like I want to go sit in that blind with you and just sit there and throw milkweed out
and see what it does. I think it's going to work because if you scroll up to the top, you can see a plot that sits on top of a hill, and I hate that blind because
all the way to the top.
Yep. All the way to the top. So blinds on the top, plots down here.
Yep.
We almost died setting that blind too.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we almost died. Like that was crazy.
Got a little tippy?
I got
one of the legs fell out or something.
Is this a Banks right here?
Yeah, that's a bank. Round. Yeah. And so what's happening here is this hill. We're trying to figure out a new setup for that actually because
internal wall.
And we might do a wall. So
you come right off the road there.
Yeah, it's super easy, very sneaky. It's great for kids or grandpas or stuff like that.
This is where the yo-yo was.
Really nice. Actually, the one when we first bought this, he wanted to sit. The former owner had a green box blind, like right in the middle of this, and it was just kind of in an interesting spot. And anytime my dad came, he wanted to go back to the green box, and I was like, the trouble with it is this is an awesome bedding area. So to go sit in there, you're blowing scent in there all the time. And it was just not a good choice, in my opinion, for the blind to sit. So we moved it up, and we were only sitting that if you got a good south wind. Problem is at night, a lot of winds die, and then this thing's sitting on top of a hill, and you open the blind, and the scent just blows right down into the plot, And even, you got to have a 10-mile-an-hour wind at evening hours for the thermals to not work. And
have you seen the Jake Ellinger approach with his blinds?
I don't think so.
He took I'm gonna guess it's like maybe a 10-foot pipe, and just went straight up with it, and then actually put a fan inside of it and sucked it all up.
So I think we talked about that as well. Is doing like a fan option. We'll see, but
I like the internal berms better.
Well, I like the internal berm because of I'm not just doing that for scent. Like, a big thing is for routing the deer and for cover on the way in and out and things. And so I think that's going to make a big difference. We got another spot where an internal berm is going to go, and we're going to move another blind to have it be more huntable, where it's just an awesome blind. But
where's that on the property?
We can scroll down there. Blinds there. So
is it just hard to get to this spot?
You can get there pretty easy because it's up high. The deer can't see you; they're below you, kind of a thing. So you can get there easy. The challenge is wind direction. We struggle to have like a consistent north or northeast wind, and that's kind of the only thing you can really hunt that, because the deer want to flow past it out to the destination food. And so
what wind are you hunting this with now?
North and northeast.
North.
Yeah. I'll risk it if it really makes sense and hunt a northwest on it or a west on it. Like if we really feel like we have to, but the does will come by you, hit your wind, and then run back in, and then they seem to tell the bucks, and then they don't come, all that stuff.
He's here.
Yeah, he's here.
You don't get a much bedding right in. It looks like a little swampy area right here.
Yeah, there's bedding in there.
Okay, so you're just blowing your scent right into
that. But it isn't there. We've made that bedding better. There wasn't a ton, so it's not. We'll see. Like as we brought the forestry mulchers through that wood lot and made that a lot better. Too. No, it's hardwoods.
It's a pretty big hillside.
That
drops down.
It's not
right behind that blind, so a lot of your wind is kind of coming over the top of that, and it's not as invasive to It's not like those deer are bedded right behind that blind. They're dropping.
It's a pothole right there.
Yeah,
got you.
Yeah, it's a pretty big. Topography is a big deal and how it plays with the wind and all that stuff.
Yeah. So it's hard to hunt down in there. But we're gonna move it over a little bit, right about there, probably. Right gotcha. And then go berm from to the right. To the right. Yeah, maybe not that far right. Yeah, on an angle to the blind. So that thing, everything coming out of there is gonna. And we're gonna make that plot a little bit bigger.
So are you gonna leave this?
Yeah, still leave it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. That blind the deer that come across the road feed there, and so we'll still leave it, but it just give you a different opportunity to see what happens. This plot is just really active, and so we want to have more opportunities to sit it, hunt it, and.
Do you think it's a little more active because it's a little
central? Okay. Yeah, it's covered. It's everything around that.
It's a natural pinch too.
Yeah, you got the two spots, and you can see the trails, in there, and it's
actually on top of a hill.
You can see the trails on the map.
I can see deer trail.
Yeah, drone.
It's just the drone photo. Yeah.
Keep zooming in on that blind one more. I think you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this plot has these apple trees planted in it, and it's just the same. Yeah, that's what those are. And then
no more
flipping the
water holes.
Yeah.
No, those aren't water holes in that one. Yeah.
You have water on this property? Have you?
I do, yeah, and I have water holes that we've installed.
I feel like if you listen to our last podcast, I can see you instantly
going a little crazy.
Pond.
Yeah, going a little.
Jay almost did.
That's part of why the excavator's coming. Yeah. So. We have ponds, and we're just going to make them bigger because we're down about 4 or 5 foot below the water level right now at this property. And, our water level is down 4 or 5 feet. And so we dried up. We had when I bought this, I probably had 8 ponds on it that held water all hunting season.
Oh, wow.
And we were down to 2 this year. And so we're gonna dig a couple of those deeper to make sure, or maybe more than a couple, to make sure that we have standing water. But we also have the little plastic, feeding troughs in the ground on certain plots. So
Yeah. I think he's going to make some changes after he listens to the last podcast.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
well, that's a pond right there.
Yeah.
So
This right here?
yeah, but if you look at it, it dried up this year. And
so it's probably been dried a lot because this last season and the season before was pretty dry.
it wasn't completely dry the year before.
Yeah,
that
was
looks
a pond.
bone dry. Yeah, that's it was a pond. We did that one as like a duck habitat breeding area, so it's got those little islands and stuff. So
cool.
just to do something for the wildlife, because we are, we're not hunting ducks there, but it just to give them food and wildlife and stuff. And so we're growing back pheasants here and things like that. It's been cool to see.
Yeah, Zach was super cool last week talking about just the deer and ponds and
Yeah, I think when people listen to this, though, this might go before Zach's just because, just honestly, full disclosure, just because we started off with, I found so many sheds and it's shed season right now.
Sure.
So this will go first. Next week is all about water.
Got it. Next week will be about water.
But I need more water, but I'm a
gonna-
big believer on it. And all the deer that if you're watching them and paying attention to them, all my water sources are muddy, and all those deer are coming out of the just drinking before they go to feed, And so we're talking about putting in some very near to the water plots because I'm down low, so digging I can hit the water table pretty quick. When we dug that pond in that one right there, the water was flowing in the ground at about 4 feet down, and you could just see it pouring in. And so I just think if we get that a little deeper, it's going to hold water all year round. So
Interesting. Yeah, I think you'll change a bunch once you listen to the podcast. I love some of his stuff that he said.
Yeah, I'm excited. Lee and I went out and sized up where I'm going to put a pond in like immediately after. Yeah. So
and it's
and I tried to draw it.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Oh, cool. So this year we'll finish. Yeah, we're going on here at time, so we'll finish with this year. How was you and your son killed this year? Correct.
yeah.
Both mature deer. And you said you had 7 to 8 going into this year. Obviously between 40 some sheds and 75 trail cameras, you have a good idea of like how many deer you're anticipating for next year.
Yeah, it looks good. It's the best it's been.
Yeah.
We're gonna
And only on year 6 potentially.
correct. Yeah, moving into year 6. So yeah, I think it's. The quantity of food is a big deal. I mean, we're planting. I guess when you total it up, there's 25 acres of food out there for deer year round, kind of a thing. So I think that's a big deal. And so we are going to be adding even more food and
Just by making plots bigger.
a couple plots bigger, and then we'll see how whether we're using crimpers in the future years or what we're doing with that crop rotation. But I think that's going to improve. But a lot of like the stand locations and some of those kind of things, they're really not changing with what we're changing. You might notice a little bit, just improving some stuff, and we did a bit of a timber cut inside here this winter, just to get more undergrowth, more woody browse, because it worked really nice the last time we did a pocket in here, and we're just adding, opening that up. And so we knocked down a big pocket of trees, and just trying to invest time into it every single year.
Yeah.
And we're able to do that. We get a little help from, a friend and things, but most of it, our family's just doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm most excited about with a potential new property is like just getting the family involved.
Yeah.
And like I would just want my girls to be like out there. I don't even care if they're playing with worms, but as like I'm working on food plots and stuff like that. Yeah, that's what's
the kids at a young age giving a kid a shovel in a brown paper bag and having them go test the soil. I mean, mine got a kick out of it and thought it was sweet, you know. So I was like, and they're labeling it, so the little marker labels on the bags, and
You're
I'm
trying
like
to
looking at it,
decipher
trying to
which
figure out
wool
what
plows
it
it
is, you know. Like I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's not totally messed up, but they loved it, you know. They got excited about it.
What's your son going after this year? Does he know? Does he already have it in his head? Like,
So, yeah, I think everybody can do their own thing as far as what they want to do with their properties. I have moved to, I don't like people claiming deer.
Oh,
I just don't
Okay.
like it. Like I said, let's make it more of a team sport. I think that it's like, here's our targets. So one of my daughter's boyfriends killed his first deer last year. I want to be
must be a good boyfriend.
celebrate.
letting him
Yes,
hunt.
yes, he is. He's a good dude. So I want to be able to celebrate everybody killing, and so it's like, here's the target box. Let's go kill him.
Love that.
But it kind of bit me couple of years ago, 3 years ago. One of the kids was targeting a certain deer. I probably could have killed him, and I didn't, and then nobody did, you know. And so I was just like, let's just stop that. Let's just say these are the
That
deer
makes
we
sense.
kill, and you know. So no, my son's. I'm sure that there's a few that he We'll see what he
In the back of his mind.
Yeah,
He knows what he wants.
we'll see. I don't know. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, greatly appreciate you coming on and sharing your property with everyone. It's really cool, and I will say it's really cool from the sky too. So
Yeah.
if you guys, it's still not too late. If you're interested in getting a map,
It's never too late.
It's never too late. So like,
Well,
actually,
can I say one thing on that a little bit? On the map.
Only if it's good.
Okay, so this is kind of good. So my brother's telling me about how I need to see these photos. In like, he and I have been working on these properties for a long time, way past buying that property. And he said, you need to get us to get out and do the drones of your property. And I'm like, why is that any different than what I can see on the satellite photos on my phone? Like, why? Why do I care? And then I saw it. I was like, oh, wow. And so now if I'm with any of the other hunters that are hunting it, or if we're looking at things, you can zoom in and see the actual tree, the trail to get there, all the different things. I mean, it changed it for me. And I really would say I wasn't really this big of a believer. I was kind of like, nah.
what is my brother doing now?
Yeah, I was like, what is he up to with this? Like, is this really a necessary thing? And so finally, so then you guys come out, do my pictures, and I get the photo, the whole thing, and I was like, this is pretty cool.
And now, like, I can see your map off of the corner of my eye, and hanging that at your cabin, like on the property.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell your son, like you said, you bring guests there. Like,
Right.
This is literally the trail that you get.
you can
to
see
stand.
all of it. And the quality of the photo, I think, is just what people maybe you would miss unless they actually get to see it, and then to zoom in on your computer or on your phone. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
So thank you
I
guys.
won't cut that out. I'll leave
That was
part
worth
in.
saying. Well, so come see us at the show in Iowa. If you want to see a map in person, look at it firsthand.
Yep.
Who's coming to Iowa?
Well, this will actually be Iowa's done. So come see us in Wisconsin or Ohio
What's Iowa's done?
by
By
when
the
this
time
releases.
airs.
Oh, come see us in Wisconsin and Ohio.
Wisconsin or Ohio,
Yeah.
Open Season Expo, or just visit our website, reach out to us. Yeah, as you can hear, there's a big difference. So
I'd buy somebody a map for a gift too. I really think that's a killer idea. Like, you know, you got
Final flight.
you got
And they can pick their map.
and let them do it. Like, I mean, it's a cool thing.
Father's
Like,
Day is coming up. Let's
perfect
get
Father's
on
Day
that.
gift,
Yeah.
or your buddies who lets you hunt your place. Like, all of those things. I think that's a killer idea.
Yep. Well, cool. We appreciate it again. Can't wait to follow up on the internal berms.
Yes.
And then
And
next,
photograph them and show them.
And then
Yeah.
next, we're going to talk about getting some underground tunnels to your
Tunnels. Yeah.
stand.
Yeah. The whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks.